Welcome to AfricaCom TV here at the Village by KPMG. We're joined by Tim Willis, Central Operations Lead at Uber. Hi Tim, how are you doing?
Good, and you?
Oh, I'm really well, thanks. How are you enjoying AfricaCom?
Yeah, it's excellent. It's amazing this year, really big.
It's ginormous. I think lots of people are trying to split themselves into 5 pieces to try and attend all the sessions.
Yeah, and I walked around the exhibition halls earlier, and there's just so many different exhibitors here, and everyone's trying to convince people to come to their little store. And
there's a lot of buzz, a lot of conversation, hopefully a lot of business being made as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to chat a bit about your speaking spot today with Uber, but I wanted to talk about maybe a couple of the misconceptions that Uber has to kind of face with its public. What is Uber? For the public, it's maybe a taxi company. To others, it's a service provider. To others, it's a tech and data giant. What do you consider yourselves?
So I think we're a bit of both, actually, or a bit of all of those things. I think we started off being with a simple mission, trying to get people a ride at the tap of a button, and I think we've just grown exponentially into so many different areas and different things. We've got so much data today that we're using to enhance our business and becoming a more reliable transportation provider through our driver partners.
Wonderful.
We're really just the link.
Yeah, a link and a connection for people. Wonderful. And you're presenting in our big data stream, Uber, the big data company. So data is obviously integral to what you do. How is Uber able to leverage data in order to provide a good customer service to those who use the application?
So I think there's 2 things that we tend to look at Uber. So the first is what engages our customers, and the second is what frustrates them. So on the engagement side, we're always looking at the data and analytics to understand what campaigns work and what we should be driving more of, what we should be driving less of, and where we get that high level of engagement, that's definitely what we focus on moving forward. So all our campaigns, everything at Uber is always run as an experiment, so we're always learning, we're always A/B testing, and whatever works is what we roll forward. On the frustration side, I think we probably run one of the biggest support networks in the world, answering all sorts of queries, both on the driver partner side and on the rider side.
Yeah.
And accumulating all that data and then making decisions out of that enables us to improve our processes and improve where we're going with the business, because immediately it's very clear what the main issues are, and those are the ones that sort of my team and I focus on every day.
Wonderful. And do you have an example of where you've been able to have a look at your insights through big data and being able to make a change that has infinitely improved your offering to customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, we see both driver partners and riders as our customers, so both of them. I think a good example is something like a lot of drivers wanted to get a ride on their way home. And we introduced a feature into the app that twice a day they can actually put an address of where they're going, and we will match them with someone going in the same direction. So it might not be the whole trip that they covered for, but at least partially they get a fare during that trip. And I think that's just something where we listened to drivers' concerns, and again tried to make the marketplace better for everyone involved. So.
That's wonderful, and I want to talk about your work in Sub-Saharan Africa as operations lead. So in the news, it was reported that Uber racked up 2 million trips in the first 6 months of operation of last year in South Africa alone. It's a staggering number. How were you able to branch out into the Sub-Saharan African market so quickly, so rapidly, but at the same time being able to deliver that high valued or that high customer service that everybody accepts or expects from a company such as Uber?
So I think the first thing is with the app, we can basically turn on anywhere in the world, and then suddenly driver partners and riders can meet and be linked. it's the same app. So no matter whether you are, here today in Cape Town or whether you're somewhere else on the continent, you can actually use the same app to get a trip. So I think that's the first thing which has allowed us to rapidly expand is the app is super scalable. And I think the second thing is we have developed these small teams with a lot of hustle on the ground to get things done. The operations team at Uber, I think, is probably just as good as the tech team. A lot of what you see at Uber is the tech team, but there's so many operational aspects to the business, and around the world we've got these great ops teams which get it done and make it happen super quickly.
Great, and just practically, if I was to catch an Uber in Lagos or in Cape Town, how does it, if it does, differ from catching an Uber in London or New York?
I think the great news is that it doesn't differ. You basically just open the same app and you get billed on the same credit card that you use in that country, in your home country, and a driver arrives and takes you to your destination. I know that in some countries where English isn't the first language, it's a really great way of getting around, because you could put the address in English, and then the driver partner who maybe doesn't speak English can get you to the right location.
That's great. I think that the idea of transferability in applications is so vital today. Looking at your presentation later, Uber, the big data company, without giving too much away, what can delegates expect from the session?
So I think talking about three things really. So the first one being the rise of Uber globally and in sub-Saharan Africa. A look at some of the analytics behind Uber in sub-Saharan Africa. So where are people going? What are they doing with the platform? And then the last one being a sneak peek at some of our future disruptions.
Right, and on that note, tech is always changing. It's no different with Uber. Always changing and innovating. What is on the horizon? What kind of new things are in store for the Uber customer in, say, the next year or two, do you think?
I think it's a really interesting question. I mean, we only started 6 years ago, so definitely we look more at months than years. But I think the big things that we'll see in sub-Saharan Africa are more launches. So probably try and turn on a few more cities. And Uber Eats, which is launched in Joburg, and I'm sure we'll be able to roll that out in a number of other cities on the continent.
Wonderful. We look forward to seeing how Uber grows and develops on the continent. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.